In this video, we're going to talk about how to find background information, historical and cultural background, for a passage, which really means finding information for a book of the Bible. This video assumes we have picked a passage, so we know what book we're looking at. Before getting to the nuts and bolts of background, a reminder that this is part of understanding the context of your passage. As we discussed earlier, communication always assumes some sort of shared context, and both the speaker and the listener, or in this case, the writer and the reader, come to the communication with background information and materials. Because of our gap of historical distance, the New Testament books were written almost 2,000 years ago in a much different world. We often need some help in properly understanding this background. What are some of the key background materials we need to explore? The author. What do we know about the author? How does their experience and background shape what they say and what they hope to communicate? The audience, the readers, and their location. What do we know about the readers? Their social status, their current experience, the challenges they are facing. Is there anything in their specific location that shapes the message they are receiving? And finally, kind of general background, the general cultural and social background. How is the world of the New Testament? And again, I'm assuming the New Testament for the moment we're talking about, since we're talking about the letters, different from ours. And how might elements of that culture and that society shape the way the message is delivered or received? Fortunately, there are many tools, including a number in your Logos software, that help you with this exploration. So let's talk about several different ways you can get to at least some of this information. So we're going to go back to the book of Ephesians as we have previously. Let's open up, I'll open up the ESV once again, type in the abbreviation in the command box, hit enter, and it opens, and since we've been working in Ephesians, Ephesians shows up. Like most letters, the first couple of verses identify the author, Paul, and the saints who are in Ephesus, the audience, where they live. So these are features specific particularly to letters. So we can do some amazing quick research because of this. One thing you can do is when you see something like a name, Paul, the author, you can right-click the name and you will pull up what's called a context-sensitive menu. What that means is the menu options are determined by what you click. So I'm going to right-click on the word Paul, and as you can see, there are a bunch of things that pop up in this large menu here. But I'm going to focus first on the right-hand side. Paul is what we select in the text. There are various options. I'm going to go to Paul the person. Again, you can see there are lexical and other things. Paul the person is what I'm interested in. What can I learn about Paul? So when I click Paul, on the right side, then, specific things appropriate to that selection appear. So the first thing at the top that's worth looking at is the fact book. So let me open the fact book on the Apostle Paul. It'll take just a minute for that to open up. And what this does is it generates a report based on information in your library about Paul. And as you can see, there are a variety of tags, categories, sections, and each one covers different things. I'm just going to highlight one. There are events, if you want to look at the events that took place in Paul's life and what how they're talked about in Logos. I'm going to open just the Dictionaries tab. And what happens there then is a series of dictionary articles, these are dictionaries that are in your library, show up about the Apostle Paul. And so if I click, for example, the Baker Encyclopedia of the Bible, you'll see there are two, one on Paul the Apostle and one on Saul, his pre-conversion name. At least that's one person with the name of Saul. If you click Paul the Apostle, this article, we will go to the Baker Encyclopedia of the Bible, and notice now a rather lengthy article. It tells us all about Paul's life, his training, his education, his conversion, his ministry, along with some pictures and so on. And every one of these dictionary resources provide us with some of that information at different levels of detail. So you'll want to familiarize yourself with these various dictionaries so you know which one will be most useful for your purposes. Let's go back. I'm going to right-click Paul again, select the person Paul. I want to point out one other thing on the left-hand side. Factbook is one option, but you'll notice near the bottom there are links directly to some of these dictionaries and the dictionary articles. You'll see Baker Encyclopedia of the Bible, Paul the Apostle, Saul. These were the first two listings. Lexham Bible Dictionary, and so on. So, again, you could just simply click this article, and once again, the same article we saw previously pops up. So you can skip the report, the Factbook report, and go directly to a dictionary article. So you can do the same thing, of course, with the city of Ephesus. In this case, we're going to right-click the city of Ephesus. We're going to pick Ephesus place, not a person. It's a place, and again, Factbook or dictionary articles. So we have a good opportunity here to provide basic orientation to this through using the context-sensitive menus in the from the Bible passage. Of course, if you know what to look for, you can go more quickly. You could, for example, simply open up your Tools menu, open up the Factbook, click this. Since it's already open, I guess I can't do that. Let's try it again. Close Factbook. You can go to the Tools menu, open Factbook, and there's Paul. And if I wanted to go to Ephesus, I could just type in the word Ephesus, and then as soon as it comes up, we'll pick Ephesus place, and it will go right Ephesus city, and we go right to the Factbook article. So if you know what you're looking for, Paul or Ephesus in this case, you can go directly without using the context-sensitive menus. Alternatively, if you want to go directly to a dictionary article, there's a cool command in Logos. You just type lookup, one word, and then Ephesus. It will open a dictionary article from your highest prioritized dictionary. Once again, in this case, the Baker Encyclopedia Bible, the Ephesus article opens up immediately. Now, if you want to look at more than one dictionary and you have one open, again, there are a variety of ways to do that. You can click the plus button to the right of the tab there. You get a new tab, and again, you can look at other resources or other dictionaries. And I could open Lexham Bible Dictionary, for example. And now I have two articles on Ephesus open. At the same time, I didn't remove or move away from the Baker Encyclopedia one. Alternatively, if you're in one article, like we're in the Baker Encyclopedia, there's a cool trick you can use to move to look at a different dictionary article. You can use the right arrows and the left arrows to move between resources of the same kind. So dictionary to dictionary, Bible to Bible translation, and so on. So I'm going to hit the right arrow key on my keyboard, and I'm going to go to a different dictionary article on Ephesus. I go to the Lexham Bible Dictionary. If I hit it again, right arrow key, I go to a third dictionary article, and I could continue doing that. If I hit the left arrow key, I go backwards. So go back to Lexham, hit it one more time, left key, left arrow key on my keyboard, and it will take me back to the original dictionary article. This is a way of quickly scanning several things while only having one panel, one tab open. So this trick works, again, as I said, in various resources of the same kind. So dictionaries and the fact book are very useful for finding details about a person, a place, and this works for any person or any place that you encounter in one of the passages you're studying. There's one more thing you can do with the fact book, which is very useful in this context. So again, let's open up the fact book once again. And I'm going to, instead of looking for a person or a place, I'm going to look for a book of the Bible. I'm going to start typing in Ephesians. It auto-completes. It says the writing, the epistle, letter to the Ephesians. So I'm going to generate the report for that particular item. And again, like with all these reports, they vary depending on what you're looking at. But this is a Bible book entry in Factbook. What's helpful is, as you'll note, if you go down about 4 or 5 tabs here, there's a background tab. Open that, expand that, and you can see there are various things in your library talking about the historical context, something about the recipients, and something about the location. Again, these come sometimes from resources you've looked at, but here they're coming from not dictionaries, but from other resources. The Bible Guide, the Holman Bible Handbook, as well as an introduction and commentary. So this accesses different resources that provide you background information. So again, it's like a research assistant that goes and searches through your library and finds some things. So if you want to look at them, you just click the link. So here, the destination of this letter, and we learn a little bit about Ephesians in this article. Okay, one more thing I want to highlight is the use of commentaries. And you can see already, commentaries normally discuss some of this. So if we click, for example, the destination, recipients, this is in a commentary in Ephesians in this library, where it talks about the city, what we know about the city, and how it's relevant to the letter. So you can use commentaries, particularly their introductory material, to provide you this historical background. There's one other way you can get at commentaries, because not every commentary will show up in every report. So you can do this by finding, again, I'm going to open my library tab. I'm going to drag it down here and drop it, excuse me. And again, we talked about the type before. I'm going to do type commentary and then just do Ephesians. If I can type it, if I can spell it correctly, that would be helpful. And you'll see I have these commentaries in this library that are tagged with the book of Ephesians. So this is the one we just looked at. But again, you can open up the commentary. If you go to the beginning, I would normally go to like the table of contents, and you'll see there's an introduction, the nature of the letter, the destination, Ephesians and Colossians, so on, questions about authorship, things like that. All those are addressed in introductions and commentaries, so it can use them as well. So you can use these the commentaries along the way. So all these resources are helpful. The dictionaries, the fact book, commentaries, and their introductions will all give you some background information. So the tools I've been talking about so far deal with the broad entire book as a whole. But if you're looking at a specific passage, sometimes there are specific features of the passage that have cultural background that go beyond those more general things. So to do that, to find that, and some of the resources that might be available, we're going to open the passage guide. Go to the guide menu as I just did, select passage guide. It'll be one of the icons that are up there. And we're going to go Ephesians 1. If I type again, EPH1. Notice it'll give me a variety of possible selections. I'm going to go to 3 to 14. We've looked at this passage previously. And let it generate the report on this. And again, a passage guide is a research assistant that finds a vast array of material from your library. It searches to see what might be there. So for example, you'll notice the second tab is your commentaries. And again, any commentary, including things like study Bibles, which though commentaries are not generally used in graduate level work. They're a bit more on the surface, general introduction, nice to use, but not something you should use for your seminary level work. But anyway, and again, different things come up as commentaries as well, word studies, textual notes, things like that. But you do have a commentaries tab, so you can look at that. I'm going to go down a little farther. I'm going to close these tabs because they just clutter the screen a bit. Some of these we will come back later in the course. Scroll down a few more. And we're going to go to Cultural Concepts. There's a tab called Cultural Concepts a ways down. And what that does is it highlights specific things on culture that are relevant to this particular context. So, for example, Ephesians 1:3 talks about blessed be God. Well, in our culture, that's not really a concept we think about, at least directly. If I ask you, what does it mean to bless someone? Many people would struggle to define that. So we might need some help with this. So we've identified the idea, and so here we've got blessing as a concept, and there's a little categorization system that works here. Not a lot of information about blessing here, but it is something, it flags at least there's something that you might want to know a little bit more about. And once again, if there's not a lot of information here, there's nothing linked to here, it's very helpful. You might just open the fact book once again. Fact book is going to be one of your good friends. We'll just type bless. To bless someone, a blessing. We'll just look at blessing as a topic in the fact book. And we will see, again, passages, dictionary articles, further discussion of how it works. So you can identify the concept. You may need to look elsewhere, research in the fact book or in other tools to find more background information. But still, it will help make sure you can explain this clearly, particularly when you come across something that's less familiar to a modern reader. The point of this video is just to note that there are some resources in your Logos library that will help you with studying the historical and cultural background for a book and even some specific features of a passage. Begin to get used to using them. As you further expand your digital library over the years with high-quality resources, your results will only get better and better. And we'll be using these resources, these tools, over the next week or two. So get familiar and use them well. Thanks for watching.